Millions set to see their household bills rise from today. So Martin is here answering your questions as to how today's price hikes will affect your finances and what you can do about it. The first question this morning, Matthew on X has asked, what, because you've mentioned it this morning, is the marriage tax allowance? Matthew got married in August. Congratulations, Matthew, and has never heard of it.
Well, it's an allowance for married people that up to 2 million eligible couples are missing out on. I've got a graphic on it. Let me run around. Here we go. So, this is what you need to understand. Now, this is crucially only for people who are married or civil partners. If you're just been cohabiting 30 years and have 12 kids, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count under the law. If you're married and civil partners, one of you has to be a non-taxpayer. So that's usually earning under 12,570 quid. The other has to pay tax at the basic 20% rate. If you pay the higher 40% rate, you can't do this. So this is what normally happens, right? You're both allowed to earn £12,570 a year without paying any tax. But under the marriage tax allowance, the non-taxpayer can apply to give 10% of their personal allowance. It should appear now. Anyway, they can apply to give 10% of their personal allowance, which is 1,260 quid, and they can pass that over to their spouse. So now the amount they can earn tax-free has dropped, but the amount that the basic 20% rate taxpayer can earn tax-free has gone up, and the total is 13,830. Now, that extra 10% is 1,260 quid that they can now earn that they would have been paying tax on at 20%. That's £252 a year. They're now not paying tax on. So that is the gain. And if you were eligible, you can claim back 4 tax years, which means in total, it's 1,260 quid. Remember, non-taxpayer with a basic 20% taxpayer, you've got to be married or civil partners.
And what is the deadline?
Well, the deadline is, because I just said you can go back 4 tax years, and the tax year ends on Saturday. If you claim now, and you've got to do a back claim form by post, so you have to do this really quickly because they've got rid of the online form. If you claim now, it was the whole system went, anyway, it doesn't matter. You can claim back to the 2021 tax year. Each tax year is worth 250 quid. If you claim next week, you'll lose the 2021 tax year. So there's 250 quid of it is going to disappear if you don't claim straight away, if you're eligible for it.
Good, right. Rachel on Facebook has said, I would like to thank you for your information on the marriage tax allowance. We applied when you mentioned it on your programme. They've just received a cheque for more than £1,000 last week. They're going to Disney this summer, so they can treat the kids with all that extra money.
So the way it works is the back claim is paid by cheque or bank transfer. The current year's claim is paid by altering your tax code. And once you claim it, as long as you're still eligible, tell them if you're not still eligible, then you automatically get it through your tax code each year. So there are 2 million eligible couples who are not claiming this. Just under 2 million, actually. I think it's about 1.9, but I'll call it 2.
And to make the point, it is marriage or civil partnership?
It's marriage or civil partnership only, not if you're living together. There's one tiny note I'll give, and it's technical and it doesn't really work for everybody. Because you have to give the whole 10%, right, you can't give part of it. You have to give the whole 10% of your personal allowance. In the event that the non-taxpayer is earning just under 12,570 and the taxpayer is only just earning over 12,570, you wouldn't gain. But as long as the taxpayer, just trying to simplify it, as long as the taxpayer earns over £13,830, it's always a winner. It's always a winner.
How do people do it?
The non-taxpayer has to go onto gov.uk and apply for the current year and print out a form to back claim for past years. It's very important. Some people say they can't get it because the taxpayer applies. You can't apply to take someone's allowance. You have to be the non-taxpayer who is giving your spouse their allowance.
Very good point. And when you say, so you go online to access the form, but you have to print off the form.
So the current year form you can do online. You used to be able to back claim online, but it all crashed earlier this year and they haven't put the back claiming now back on the online system. So to do the back claim, you have to do it on a paper form. So you're going to need to print it out and fill it in and post it off today to make sure you get under the deadline.
Wow. I thought they used to say tax doesn't have to be taxing. But thank goodness
you want to know
here.
the real truth of this?
No, I don't, Martin.
No, I was just when I did my show on it, and I was doing a big show on the benefit of marriage, On that day was the day they took it offline, including the current year application, 3 hours before the show. And I'm on the phone to them going, what do you mean I'm about to go do it to 3 million people? Anyway.
And does it always pay off?
Well, yeah, that's the issue of not whether you don't quite move, you have to move the whole amount. For the 99% of people, it's a winner.
Good.
There's just if you're a low-earning basic rate taxpayer under 14 grand, there is a chance it won't pay off.
OK, all right, but worth a try. And in some cases, everyone who tries will get it, yeah.
Many people are getting 1,260 quid, yeah.
Incredible. Right. Now, it's the end of the tax year this Saturday. An urgent warning for savers with ISAs.
Right. You get an ISA allowance every tax year, which is £20,000 that you can put savings or investment in and you don't pay tax on. And crucially, the interest you earn in a cash ISA doesn't count towards your personal allowance, the amount you can earn tax-free. It doesn't count towards your personal savings allowance. Okay. But if you don't use this year's cash ISA allowance, you lose it. Yeah. Right? So there's no carryover. You can't use next year. So if you're a saver, at the moment, the top easy access cash ISAs, just savings accounts you can put money in and out of. You just don't pay tax on them. Pay more than the top normal savings. So you may as well have your money in a cash ISA. And even if you haven't got that much money that you're going to be using next year's, you may as well use up this year's. You might win the lottery. Who knows? And you might want that next year. So it's best to use up your cash ISA allowance.
Yeah. Kathy says she's recently been walloped for income tax because of savings she had stashed away in a high-interest account. She put 20 grand in it. Good for you, Kathy. She put 20 grand in an ISA in February. How soon does she have to wait before she can stash?
Very simple. We're in this tax year, so you could put £20,000 in now. You've already done it in February, and then you could put another £20,000 in on Sunday, because that's the start of the new tax year. Pop the champagne corks, get the fiscal fireworks flowing.
And
new
you're off
tax
to Disney.
year on Sunday morning.
So we've had an email, Martin, from Hayley, who says, I live in a 2-bedroom house with my 8-year-old daughter. There are only 2 of us at home. My estimated water bill is around £900 for the upcoming year. Would Hayley benefit from switching to a water meter?
Almost certainly. So here is my rough rule of thumb. If you have more or the same number of bedrooms in your home than people, so let's say we shared a house, there's 3 of us, but we're in a 4-bed house, that's 4 bedrooms, 3 people, you will likely be better off on a water meter. That's because your water bills are based on the rateable value of your house. The rates that's the one before the council tax, before the poll tax, rates in 1989, which is a proxy for how much your house could be rented for, which is a proxy for your house value. So the bigger your house, the more bedrooms, the more you pay, whereas a water meter is on usage. So if you're in a 4-bed house and there's only 1 of you, a water meter is likely to be cheaper. Now, the savings here can be quite substantial. Emma tweeted me, well, looks like Martin was right, glad. Got a water meter fitted and my Thames water bill has gone from £54 a month to £23 a month.
Crikey.
A £400 a year saving. I've had people save over £900 a year on water. So there's no competition, but this is only for England and Wales. It's different in Scotland and Northern Ireland. England and Wales, go to ccw.org.uk, the Consumer Council for Water. They have a water meter calculator if you've got more or the same number of bedrooms and people in your house. If you haven't, you're probably not better off. Just very quickly, most water companies, if you do voluntarily switch to a water meter, if it's compulsory, you have up to 2 years until the end of your second bill to switch back. A couple don't, so do check first, but you can sort of try whether a water meter will work for you.
How quickly do they install them and how quickly do they
Well,
work?
It depends whether I've just been on the television telling everybody to get them and built lots of queues by it, to be honest with you.
OK, but on a normal day, if somebody's got this bill now...
You'd hope it'll be done within a couple of months.
A couple of months?
I'm managing expectations. I would like it to be quicker, but I'm not going to say that because then I'll get lots of complaints that it isn't.
Yeah, no, I understand. Just to give people a reasonable expectation. And then it will reduce your water bill, hopefully, immediately, would have an impact.
Well, it depends on how much water you're using. There's also a website, Save Money, Save Water, which shows you all the freebies available from the water companies, like aerated shower heads, which give you, it feels the same amount of water coming through, but air's pumping through as well. It reduces your water. And if you reduce your water usage, you often reduce your energy bills because much of the energy we use water we use is heated, and therefore we're paying for it to be heated.
Brilliant. Very useful. Right. Susan says, after reading something you'd said, I am now on an assessed charge for my water. I was going to be paying £95 per month, but have managed to drop this to £42 per month, pending a possible water meter. I never knew the assessed charge existed.
So, for those people who are told by their energy company it is not practical to fit a water meter, often people in flats with shared pipes, you can ask for an assessed charge. What that means is they would assess how much you would pay likely to pay if you were on a water meter, and therefore you switch from the rateable system to a water meter. It's the best of both worlds because they tell you, and then if the water meter's cheaper, you move to it. If the water meter's more expensive, you stick on your bills. Brilliant. But you can only get that if you can't have a water meter fitted.
Onyx Mothers, can I change my water company from... Do you want to know which one they're with or which one they want to change to?
No.
Southern Water to Portsmouth Water?
No.
Because
there's no competition.
There's a monopoly in that area.
There's a monopoly in every area. Local monopolies,
so competition is not affecting the market.
The most important thing I need to say on water, actually, just before we finish, 5.7 million eligible homes are missing out on water discounts. There's social tariffs, which is for people on low income, and benefits, where you can get your bill reduced by up to 90%. Now, until yesterday, the cap was around family income of around 21 grand. It's now around 22 grand. It depends on each water company. It's gone up today. So more people may be eligible. Check out a social tariff if you're on a low income. And there's the WaterSure scheme available. So if you've got a medical condition like Crohn's, where you need to use more water, you may be able to get a cap on your water bill. Or if you've got 3 or more children and you're on benefits. 5.7 million homes missing out on those social tariffs and water discounts.
And the energy price cap.
Let me jump over the desk. Let's bring the graph up.
I love when you do
so
that.
the energy price cap dictates the price 2/3 of homes in England, Scotland and Wales pay for energy. This is what's happening with it. Basically, everyone who isn't on a fixed or a discount tariff. As you can see, it's gone up 10% in October, up 1.2% in January, and it's going up 6.4% today. So it's 18% higher than last summer. 2/3 of homes are on this. And here are the predictions for future. If we can go forward, there we are. It's going to come back down roughly 6%. It depends on whose prediction. So roughly to where you are now in July. That's relatively likely. The further out you go, the more crystal ball gazing, and then going to go back up. So that's what happens if you're on the 2/3 of the homes on the price cap. What about if you fix? Where's the cheapest fix? Hopefully it comes up. There you go. Cheapest fix. About 7% below where we are today, 13% below where we are in April, and if those predictions are right, still cheaper for the rest of the year, and you get the guarantee that you're not going to have any price rises. So the risk-averse thing to do, if you want peace of mind what you're going to pay, and you're certainly going to save substantially instantly, is to get yourself onto a comparison site, find out your cheapest fix, because it depends on where you live and what you use. Look into a cheap price. Make sure the exit penalties are low, just in case you need to leave. But remember, most comparison sites hide tariffs that don't pay them, so you want one that's whole of market by default, or when you're on the comparison site, tick the box to say, show me all tariffs. I'm jumping back.
On Instagram, Charlie W, are there any ways to save on energy bills other than that?
Yeah, I mean, cutting your usage is, of course, the obvious one. Improving your insulation, all of those things will make a difference.
On Facebook, Laura Wells, I'm on a fixed tariff home move exclusive with British Gas. It ends in June. Don't know whether to go for another fixed tariff or a variable, or to go to another energy company. I'm £60 in debit due to only moving into the property last year. Disabled and concerned what to do when the tariff ends.
Well, your energy ends in June. Now, you can leave anybody can leave a fix within the last 50 days of their fix without paying early exit penalties. So put that date in your diary. That's the date you should be doing your first comparison. Then if it's cheaper, well, you ditch and you move. If your fix is, if it's an old fix, it might be cheaper than what you can get right now. So you might want to stay on it till the last minute. There is no point in... Just because the price cap is going up doesn't mean fixed price is going up. In fact, perversely, the price cap is based on wholesale rates, the rates energy companies pay from November to February. It's a time lag, whereas the rate you can fix today is based on today's wholesale rates, which have dropped. That's why there's a 13% difference between the price cap and what you can fix at. So the rush to fix, because price cap's going up, is wrong. You fix based on the price, and the rate that you can fix at changes every day. We don't know what you'll be able to fix that in June. So hold on for the moment, and hopefully we'll get there.
All right, absolutely. The deadline to boost your state pension is also approaching, and some of you have already been in touch about this. Tracy emailed in to say, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. I had 11 years of contributions already, and I have now paid an additional 18 years of missing 2 NI contributions, which cost me £2,968. This has increased my pension from £70 per week to £183 per week. Tracy reckons this has given her an additional £5,916 a year. And if she lives 20 years, that's an incredible £118,000.
That's the biggest success I've had in on this. But I have had many in the 40, 50 and 60,000s. Many, I mean hundreds of that level.
OK.
Let me try and talk you through this. Let's bring my first page of graphics up as I slide over here. OK, so what's this all about? The new state pension started in 2016. This applies to men born after the 5th of April 1951, so 73 years old and younger, women after the 5th of April 1953, so 71 and younger. Think of each national insurance year you get like a token, right? If you get the token, you get a token for a full year, it goes into the state pension piggy bank. If you've got at least 10 years, you're going to get some state pension. To get the full state pension needs around 35 years. It can be more. People get in touch with me and say, mine was more. It isn't 35 years. That's just a sort of typical figure, 35 years. If you get that, 35 years of national insurance contributions, you get the full state pension, currently £221 a week, 20, but from next week, £230.25, the full new state pension. How do you get national insurance years? By working and currently earning just over £6,400 a year. Earn 10 quid less than the threshold, you don't get your year, but you could pay just a tiny bit to get the year. You do it by childcare. When you're looking after your own children, on certain benefits give you national insurance years, and if you're a carer, you can get national insurance credits as well. So that's what you do. Why are we doing this with a level of urgency? Well, some people may be missing years. Typically, if you took time off work, if you had a low income, if you lived abroad, if you were a carer and didn't claim, or you didn't claim the right childcare credit. What do I mean by that? So, when you claim child benefit, that triggers you getting national insurance credits for childcare. But let's say there's two of you, one's working, one's not. The working parent claims the child benefit. They're already getting national insurance credits from work. It needs to be the non-working parent who claims the child benefit. Then they get the credits when they're not working. If you did that wrong, and you should check, you can transfer those old credits for free, and it's worth looking at. Now, why is this so urgent? Transitional arrangements were put in place when the new state pension launched in 2016. They were meant to end a couple of years ago because I did lots of programmes on this. We burst the system and they extended it. So until Saturday, you can buy back any missing years to 2006. From Sunday, you can only buy back to 2019. 13 years worth. This is absolutely massive if you've got missing years in that time. It's gone this weekend, absolutely gone. Why is this important? Well, 1 year usually adds 330 quid a year to your state pension, and it's the triple lot means it's inflation-proof too. So you live typical life expectancy, boosting 1 year is a £6,000 gain. Boost 10 years, £60,000 gain. So what should you be checking? And we're probably going to crash the websites as soon as I say this. 2 checks to do first. Check your past national insurance record at gov.uk. You can go online, do it totally for free. You'll get something like this. As you can see, these are all full years. You're going back to 2006. You can't buy back before then, only to 2006. If you've got year not full, click View Details. It may be you're only a week or two full, and it would be really cheap just to buy it. It may be you're a whole full year full. So if you've got missing years, then check if you're on track to get the full state pension. It's called the State Pension Forecast, again on gov.uk. That'll look something like this. Can we change the page? Hopefully. There we go. So if you get a forecast like this and it says you're forecast to get £221.20, that means you're on for the full state pension. So even if you've got missing years, if you're on for the full state pension, you don't need to add years. The only change would be maybe you're planning to move abroad, maybe you're planning to stop work. This forecast, if you're not already getting your state pension, assumes that you're going to continue to working until your state pension retirement age. Or you might get a prediction like this. Your forecast is £194 a week. That isn't the full state pension. In that case, you can improve your forecast by filling in those missing years, either for free or paying for them if they were missing. That is the first stage in the check. If you're aged between 40 and 73, do this today. Do it today. You've got to get your skates on this. The deadline's Saturday.
Martin, you say some people can get those years for free. How do they do that?
Well, first would be the childcare years that I just talked about, if the wrong parent claimed that national insurance credit.
OK.
Second, there's a thing called the Specified Adult Childcare Credit, which I call the grandparent credit. So let's imagine a couple have children, they're both going to work, they get the grandparent to look after the kids. The grandparent isn't state pension age when they're doing it. The grandparent can apply to have the parent's childcare credit transferred to them for free. So that's another way. Or this is all on gov.uk. And crucially, there's another one. If you're a carer and you didn't claim carer's credit and you're caring over 20 hours a week for someone who's qualifying on benefits, then you may be able to get the credits for that too. That's how you do it for free.
Some answers to your questions on those price rises, bill rises in just a moment. But Martin, let's go back to the pensions boost we were talking about just before 8. If people are short on their state pension forecast.
Yeah, so if you're short on your state pension forecast, the key is until Saturday, you can buy back missing years from 2006 to 2019. From Sunday, you can only go back to 2019. In fact, you can currently buy them until the current day, but the 13 years are missing. Now, these can be worth tens of thousands of pounds on top of your state pension. I went through it step by step in detail before. You need to go onto gov.uk and first of all check, are you missing any national insurance years? There's a tool there to do it. And then, is your state pension forecast due to get you the full amount? If it is, you don't need to get extra years. If it isn't, you may need to buy or try and get years for free. We have crash.gov.uk. I do it every time I talk about it, so you may have to wait a little bit until you do a check on it.
Yeah.
But this is really complicated. Make sure you go online and do some reading as well before you make anything, but yes.
I would actually say it's not complicated to check.
No, the check is easy.
Yes.
What you decide to do afterwards is the key.
It's a bit more complicated. So some people can get years for free, and you explained that earlier, so that's on our social media. But if people are short on their state pension forecast, how do they know if it's worth paying? How does it add up?
So, the first thing, if you're only short a partial year, while a full year costs £180 if you're self-employed and £800 if you're an employee, a partial year may only cost you 20 quid to top it up because you were only a tiny bit short of the full year and it's binary. You either get it or you don't. Well, that makes it a lot easier to decide. Otherwise, if you're at or nearly at state pension age, if you're short, and if buying years will help you, it will help you. So that's quite easy to work out because you're at the point. Some people are already on their state pension and can buy years and instantly get an extra amount of money coming in. If you're aged 45 to 60-ish, it's more difficult to decide, because it's less definite whether you will fill in the gaps naturally in the rest of your working life. So it's best to top up then the nearer you are to 60. If you don't have any gaps after 2019, so you couldn't buy those later. If you missed more years, it tends to be better to top up, and if you've got partial years. For those under 40, I generally wouldn't be doing this unless you find a really cheap partial year that's 20 quid or so, when even you may as well just do it just for the sake of it, just to give you some help later. The really important thing to say, though, is how do you do it? Now, there's a tool you can do this online at gov.uk, unless you're missing self-employment years, unless you're missing years from living abroad, or unless it says your situation is too complicated that it may well do. But also, many people want one-on-one help, and you should talk to someone one-on-one to see if this is worth doing. So, if you're already getting your state pension age or within 4 months of it, you need to call the pension service. If you're before getting your state pension age, you need to call the future pension centre. If you're going to call them up, you're then going to need an HMRC 18-digit reference in order to pay your money. Frankly, there's virtually no chance of anybody getting through before the deadline. But I have a way around that.
Good.
The DWP has a callback form, so you can register for a call from one of these agencies. And even if they call you back after the deadline, and currently it's looking like a 2-month waiting list, you will then still be able to buy the missing years that are available right now. Unfortunately, the link to that is incredibly complicated and it's quite difficult to find. Just in the break, I have just tweeted and put on Facebook the link, and hopefully Good Morning Britain will retweet that so people can find that link. That beats the deadline for you to then have a conversation afterwards. Look, there's lots of things we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about there's a tax impact, it might reduce the tax. We haven't talked about if you're a very low income, this could stop your eligibility for pension credit, it isn't worth doing. We haven't talked about some potential future means testing of the state pension. All of that is worth thinking about, and I can't say where, but I know it's been written about in great detail in various places that people can read through. But in the main, for the vast majority of people, especially if you're near retirement age, if you've got missing years and you're not due to get a full state pension, this is incredibly lucrative and worth doing.
OK. All of that available on our social media and anywhere else you may find Martin Lewis writing in detail about these matters. There we go.
Oh, well, there we go.
Lots of people are talking about council taxes going up. What can you do if your council tax is going up, Martin?
So the first thing I'd say on council tax is up to 400,000 people in England and Scotland are in the wrong band, too high a band. I launched a check and challenge system on this in 2007. People can go, it's available, lots of people can go and read that one online. Effectively, what you need to do is go onto voa.gov.uk to check your council tax bands and neighbours in identical property, or if you're in Scotland, saa.gov.uk. If you are in a higher band than neighbours in identical properties, then you need to work out what band you would have been in 1991. If that shows you're in too high a band, then you need to look at going forward to get your band lowered.
Okay.
But equally importantly, many people are missing out on discounts. There's the single adult discount, which gives you 25% off. So anybody who's...
Just taking out the voices in your ear?
Yes, because I can't do this and have someone talk to me at the same time.
No, I'll just listen to them, don't worry.
So you've got 25% off if you're a single adult. And that means if you're living with children or you're living with full-time students, all of that, you're still a single adult, you still get 25% off. Crucially, students living together get a discount. The one people don't talk about is the severe mental impairment discount for council tax, massively under-publicised.
Yes.
So if somebody has a lack of social functioning, severe dementia will do it, severe Parkinson's, severe stroke are typical examples, then, and as well as if they're eligible for certain benefits, they can be disregarded for council tax, which effectively means if they're the only person living in a house, they don't pay council tax. If they're living with one other adult, that other adult gets a single-person discount.
Claire on email says, I'm with British Gas for gas and electricity.
Yeah.
Energy bills,
Yeah.
big concern for people. I'm on a standard variable rate and I'm currently just over £1,000 in credit. Is it worth changing my tariff, to a fixed rate or stay with my variable?
Well, unless your bills are £500 a month, £1,000 in credit is ridiculous at this time of year. You need to get in touch with your energy company and get some back. But you'd also get it back if you switch firm. Have we got the energy graph? Can we pop that up behind me, please?
It's just coming. The voices in my ear are telling me.
What you'll see from this graph when it comes up is you'll see the predictions of the price cap. If you're on a standard tariff, you're on the price cap. The dotted line below is the cheapest fix. Now, you can see you're going to save about 14% on current prices on the cheapest fix on the market. And then if the predictions are right for the rest of the year from July onwards, you're still going to be saving if you were on a fix. So the risk-averse thing to do is absolutely get off the price cap. I call it the pants cap because the rate is pants. Get off the price cap. Get yourself onto a much cheaper deal. A cheap fix would lock you in. You get price certainty. You know what you're going to pay. You're going to have a saving instantly, and it's not going to go up for a year. Yeah, get off the pants cap, folks.
That's energy bills, but what about water bills? Can you challenge them, says Hair by Maxi? I live in a flat with a rateable value of £99,000, paying £700 a year.
You cannot challenge your water bill rateable value. There's the 1989 level, but what you can do, if you've got more or the same number of bedrooms in your home than people, you should check out whether you can get a water meter. Go to the Consumer Council for Water's website that's got a calculator. Also, 5.7 million people eligible for social tariffs on water because you're on a low income. It's around £22,000 or less. Check out your water company's conditions. That could cut your bill by 90%. If you've got a medical condition that means you need more water, like Crohn's disease, you could be on the Water scheme, which caps your bills. You could also be on that if you've got 3 or more children and are on benefits. There's lots of things people can do on water. By the way, the water meter's only in England and Wales. You don't get that one in Scotland. But massive savings. I've heard of people saving £900 a year by getting rid of water bills and moving onto a water meter. One person in a 4-bed home will almost certainly be saving a fortune if they switch to a water meter.